Hello everyone, and welcome to my EECS 1021 bonus project. So in this project, I decided to make a game using the Java language and Arduino Grove board with the moisture sensor to create a game that is used to enhance hand-eye coordination and have the potential to resolve nerve damage in the user's hands. So we'll go over the game in a bit for the demo, but we'll describe what happens in the game. So the game is time-based, where prompts are going to come up on the OLED screen describing on what tasks need to be done, whether it's grab the moisture sensor, turn the potentiometer, click a button, stuff like that, all while the LED and buzzer are going to be ringing. This is to give the user a sense of time and understand what's going on and that what they need to do it quick. And we'll go over, and basically higher scores lead to doing things fast and just getting the most tasks done. So we'll run this through and we'll see. Do we want to play the game? Yes, we do. Now we pay attention here. Stage 1. Tap the sound. Yep. Then a graph pops up to help us describe that. We get it right. Press the button. Cover the light sensor. Next stage. So we're on to stage 2 now. Grab the moisture sensor. Now we're on stage 2. So it starts again. Cover the light sensor. Oh, didn't have enough time. And you can see we got a new high score and asked if we want to play again.
All right, so to describe the basic flow of the program, we can use this flowchart to describe the algorithm. So we start off, we set up the Arduino Grove board, the OLED screen, and then we prompt the user with the GUI window. We ask them, do they want to play? If no, we end. If yes, then we continue. Start game starts, everything continues to get set up, pins and all that. And then we start the timer. And throughout the whole program, we're constantly asking, does the user still have enough time? Did they finish the task in time? If no, then we end the game. If yes, then we go here. Then we start new event and we add points to whatever the user has completed. Did they win? And then if they still have time, did they win the game? No, we keep going. We keep going. If they did, then they go into yes, they go A, and yeah, same thing. So whether the user loses or beats the game, they go into A, which is basically did they get a new high score? If yes, then we display the new high score with the GUI. If no, then we display old high score, whatever was saved in that text file. And we ask them if they want to play again. If they do, then we go back into start game. If they don't, then we end the program.
Now we'll go over the code that runs the game. Begin in the main class. In the main class, we set up the Arduino board and OLED screen. We use the imported API from Fermat and Princeton standard library to communicate with the Grove board, and then call a method GUI, wait for a response, and then proceed to start game. GUI, we use Java Swing and Java FX API to set up and create an interactable GUI with the user. After all the setup, we use the GUI to ask the user if they want to play the game or not. If yes, then we go back to the main and wait for the game to start, and if no, we exit the program. In this file, we go over the brain of the game. We start off by declaring pins and their functions, and then call the object methods to set up the algorithms for all tasks. These tasks are then put into an array list and scrambled prior to each stage of the game to keep the tasks random. The OLED is used here to notify the user their progression through the game, and after each stage begins, a new timer starts for that respective stage, as seen by the timer object. As users progress through the game, they score points and either win or lose the game. If they win the game, they get a you win message and bonus points and to the endgame object. And if they lose, they just get sent straight to the endgame object. The methods files contains the algorithm for checking when a task is completed by the user. We have various different objects, each for their own respective tasks, that sets a completion variable to 1 when completed. And our potentiometer task specifically, we use a live graph to show the user an estimation of where they need to turn the potentiometer to match the value of a random generated number that's within the restrictions of the potentiometer. A couple of lines of code are dedicated to making the graph looks nice, and then we have an object called graph, which plots a point of the potentiometer every second onto that graph. The graph file is fairly simple as we run the graph object with timer task. That way, while the plot task is running, in methods, this object runs simultaneously to plot a point onto the graph of the potentiometer's value every second. Here we store the value into an array list prior to plotting. Time file is also a simple class as it uses timer task to ring a buzzer and LED every second while keeping track of how much time goes by every time the method is called. If too much time passes for this specific stage, the user is forced into a game over screen when time is exceeded using conditional statements. We use a text file to keep track of high score, that way its memory is never erased. Tester class was used to interface and understand the mechanisms of each component on the Grove board. Additionally, once the game was completed, I encouraged my family members to play the game for me and give me feedback on what could be done better. I also learned here that abstraction technique helped me debug a lot of the major issues I had since I had already separated most of my code into different files. It helped me organize and isolate the problems, which helped me debug. Finally, we have the last file, which goes over our game ending GUI. In this file, we compare the user's score of this run with the all-time high score. If the new score was greater than the all-time high score, we tell the user they got a new high score and overwrite the text file. If not, then we just display the old score and it remains unchanged. The user is also prompted in this file to play again with the GUI. If the answer is yes, then we start the start game file over again, and if no, we exit the program.